Hi, I'm Bernie. I'm a compulsive gambler. I'm also presently dealing with many other issues health-wise. However, I wanted to come to you today and talk to you a little bit about a couple of meds that are out there. One of which I have found to be very helpful with compulsive gambling, the other to be counterproductive would be the best word. First off, let's talk about the one back in 2007, I believe it was, mid 2007, 2008, I was put on a med called Abilify. And Abilify, for some reason, and I found this out through other people that had been on it as well, has the effect with many compulsive gamblers, or with some compulsive gamblers, of increasing the urge to gamble. That is something that is actually in the information. And originally, when I did a video talking about the meds, the previous one, I didn't mention it because I didn't know if I'd have a legal problem mentioning it. But since it's in the material, I want to make people aware Abilify tends to heighten the urge for compulsive gambling. At least one person I know of that was not a compulsive gambler took it and began having urges for that kind of thing too. So that's something to be aware of. Not that it's everybody's going to be affected that way, but that med does have that propensity, that possibility. Along with that, I want to talk to you about a med called Prestige, which I was put on after having been on the Abilify. Prior to either of those meds, I had some desire to gamble. Now, when I went on Prestige, about 3 to 4 days into it, I noticed a decrease, not just a little decrease, but a substantial decrease in my urge to gamble. It built up some confidence, and I considered doing a couple of things, but I don't want to start gambling again, so I make sure that I'm very much aware. But the Prestige has the effect for me, and I'm hoping that at some point the makers of Prestige, a company by the name of Pfizer, many people may be familiar with, would do some research to show the benefits that Prestige might have for compulsive gambling. Do some research on whether it's actually a med, much like the stuff that helps with drinkers, that will make them throw up if they drink alcohol with it. But with gamblers, it's more of a change in the mindset. And for me, there was a major change of mindset. Just like with the Abilify, within 3 days, I was like wanting to go to the casino, which is something I never did. I was scratch off tickets. That's what my thing was. But the Abilify heightened my urge to gamble. I started thinking, casinos are better at that than you have better odds at the casinos, is what I was thinking, which really is kind of silly. But when I went on to the Prestige, what I noted is this. Not only did that go away, but the urges that have always been in the background during my recovery began to lessen. Just as within 3 days, the gambling urge really grew. It took 3 to 5 days, and I noticed with the Prestige that there was a significant drop in my urge. Today, I can honestly say that a lot of the urges I have for compulsive gambling are more stress-related and very fleeting. They're more manageable than ever before, and have been on Prestige for about 3 years, 4 years, something like that. It has shown me that the medicine has a propensity, at least in my mind, to possibly be something to help with compulsive gamblers who are trying to get better. So as I said, I hope Prestige becomes something that they do research in that field. At this point, they still haven't done a whole lot of research on how to help compulsive gamblers. There's a lot of things that go along with it. The future for treatment and what I'm looking at has to include some component of that, but also I would think a component of being able to deal with not only the compulsive gambler, but the family. There's a reason why there's Al-Anon and Narconon and Gamanon, because those are for the family and friends that don't understand that they're trying to deal with the situation. Treatment facilities for compulsive gambling, because of how with compulsive gambling, you don't have all these signs that come up ahead of time. It's kind of like a lot of times it just falls into place and everything breaks loose. That's what happened with me. I almost lost my job. I just went downhill like you wouldn't believe. Ended up in the adult psych. That's how my compulsive gambling came out. With this kind of treatment being involved, and the fact that it doesn't show up so quickly, it would be good to have a well-rounded program. What I have for a vision of a program involves therapy for kids, parents, spouses, family, and friends, in a respect of having the information available to them, but also having the opportunity for them to learn from it. I've mentioned usually in my talks that I do about how compulsive gamblers are like a person going to a restaurant. They go in there and they're not going in there to order one fry. You'll order a whole meal. You'll sit down. You'll enjoy the meal, all that. When a compulsive gambler goes in, they go in to enjoy everything. It's not just about one little bet here, one little bet there. It's about the environment. The environment that allows you to say, okay, everything else I'm worried about can be put to the side. But again, as I said, treatment in the future, I'm hoping, will be involving the use of medications, that as Prestige seems to do for me. And I don't know whether it's a trend or not. But if Prestige is something that research has found that actually helps with compulsive gambling, that would be a huge step. But also to have treatment that is so broadly set that it covers not just the compulsive gambler, because the mindset of the compulsive gambler is part of the environmental set, as I would like to call it. And that's the set of things that, because it's not something that just you don't have somebody trying to deal it to you. You have somebody that puts it in front of you and you buy it, and it's legal like alcohol. But also, it's very, very quiet how it comes upon the person that's the compulsive gambler. The family members don't realize until it's really kind of a sad situation a lot of times. So to work in that respect, it would be a wonderful thing to broaden it, to have pet therapy, to have interactive stuff for the kids, some understanding for families, to do some, not only the group therapy, the family therapy, the marriage therapy, all the different types of therapy can be involved. But one of the things that would be good is to have a way for the kids to really debrief after that through something where they get to play with a pet or an animal that's good with them. Dog, I've got a pet dog because of my new wife loves dogs. We have a pet dog named Faye, and Faye is really good for me in that even though I have asthma and sometimes I have problems with it, Faye tends to be one that settles me down when I get anxious. So in closing, remember to think about what you're doing. Those that are trying to learn about compulsive gambling, consider what's going on out there, but also be aware that a compulsive gambler is not out to hurt you. For the compulsive gambler, please seek help. Consider talking to your doctor about whether Prestige might help, and try to find out what is going on with it. If you're out there and you have connections with the medical field, talk to them about doing research on Prestige to find out whether that really is what it seems to me. But again, also be aware of the effects of Abilify and all the other things that I've mentioned so far. So, and that, have a good day. Thanks.